Hey guys, this is Anthony Morganti from anthonymorganti.com, and this is episode 66 of Photo Critiques. And in Photo Critiques, people send me in some of their best work, and I critique each shot with suggestions on how they can improve it. And today, I'm pleased to critique the work of Herman Verhoeven. I hope I pronounced that right. And Herman sent me in something different. We have some panoramas to critique, and he used a open source program called Hugin to stitch the shots together. And he told me he used up to 20 individual images that were stitched together with this open source program, Hugin. Now, in the description below, I'll have the link to the website for Hugin if you're interested in checking into it. Now, as I mentioned, it's open source, so you'd have to compile it to run on your system. I've never used it, so I'm sorry I won't be able to answer any questions specifically about the program or how to use it or even how to compile it. But if you're interested, all that information will be below and you could check it out. As you can see, it did a really nice job, and Herman's a very talented photographer, did a really nice job on his images. And as I zoom in, you can see the tremendous detail. When you're stitching together 20 images, you have a lot of pixels, a lot of data stitched together, and it's really incredible detail. And his exposure is perfect on every shot. You'll see did a really nice job. And this first one, compositionally, what I would suggest is we have a lot of area over here to the left that really isn't adding anything to the shot. As a matter of fact, it's detracting a little bit because of this Ferris wheel that's cut off. So in this case, I think he would have been better served if he didn't include everything like from this group of buildings to the left. I think that could have been eliminated, and even this part to the right. So we could have had just a panorama of the buildings going from there to there, and I think it would have been a stronger shot. This shot's, you know, a pretty cool shot of Hong Kong, of the skyline. Now we do have this building cut off over here. And those of you that have done panoramas before know that when the software stitches all these shots together, you don't get a perfect rectangle when you're done. You get this kind of weird, you know, kind of collage almost of edges, and you crop it down into the rectangle shape. And I suspect that's what happened here. It probably came down too far, and he had to crop it to get it the rectangle shape. So that kind of hurt the image because this building looks cut off. The other thing in these last three images that I noticed is they're kind of all shot at eye level, shooting straight ahead, and we don't have anything really in the foreground. Now, to record the cityscape, they're perfect. You have a really nice record of the cityscape of Hong Kong. But I think the images would have been stronger if you had some more foreground to midground elements in the shot. So by doing that, you probably would have had to shoot a little wider and tilt your camera down a little bit to get more of the foreground in the shot. And when I say shoot wider, that's so you don't cut off the buildings at the top. And your resultant, probably your panorama wouldn't have been as long, but I think it would have been a stronger image. You can see in this shot too, it's kind of right at eye level, shot straight ahead. This is of San Francisco, and again we have some dead part of the image over here. There's really no need to keep this in the image because you're cutting off the bridge, and there's really nothing over here. And to the right, it looks like you're cut off the image. We have more city going to the right. So this whole thing, I think, could have got tilted to the right a little bit and had more of the city and less of this dead space over here. Again, though, it's at eye level straight ahead. You did a nice job of recording the cityscape, but I think it would have been a stronger image and showed scale a little better if you had more of the foreground to midground in the shot. This is an excellent shot too, excellent exposure of Singapore. This too, now this you're at a higher vantage point shooting out at the city. We have all the sky up here, and really it's pretty cool colors, and the stray airplane right here is kind of interesting. But again, we have all these buildings that are just kind of cut off at the chest. So I think if you tilted your camera down a little bit and had the panorama down somewhat, so we had more of the foreground in the shot, I think it would have been a stronger image. And that's it for the panoramas from Herman. I thank you very much for sharing them with us. It's kind of different um, to critique an entire set of images that are panoramas, and it's very impressive. It's a lot of work. When you're taking, as he mentioned, up to 20 individual shots, you're developing each shot, maybe probably in Lightroom, developing each shot, and then you have to send them into your external editor to stitch them all together. Then when they come back, you do some more developing, and you have to crop them, as I mentioned. So it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of work taking the shot too. And I'll just mention, for those of you that have never done a panorama and don't really know how to do it, usually how you would do it, you would use a tripod. You don't always have to use a tripod. I've taken them without a tripod, but it's easier if you use a tripod, and you usually shoot them vertically, so you get maximize your top to bottom size of the image. And you would take one shot, usually you start at your left and take the one shot, then you'd move your camera, turn your head of your tripod to your right, and overlap by about a third to a quarter, and take the second shot, and you just keep doing that, overlapping each shot by about 1/3 to 1/4, going all the way across the frame. Now they do sell special heads for tripods that are specifically made for panoramas, where the entire camera slides very evenly, so you could get the shot very even, and it will minimize that effect of having that kind of ripple top and bottom where you have to crop. Those heads are relatively expensive though, but that's something, if you're really into it, you could check into getting. They work out really well, and they have measurements on there where you could really specifically move the camera in very specific increments to get it really as perfect a panorama as possible. So once you're all done with all those shots, you take them all into Lightroom, you develop them all the same exact way. So usually would develop one how to your liking, and then you would duplicate that development, copy it to all the others. Then you would send them all into the editor. Usually I use Photoshop to stitch them together. You could use Elements to stitch them together, or you could use a program like Herman used, Hugin, to stitch them all together. Then when you're done, you might do some more processing. You might want to increase contrast a little, whatever it takes, and you usually have to crop it, as I mentioned. And that's it. That's how you would do the panorama. It's a pretty involved process, but it usually gives you really great, fulfilling results. And again, that's it for Herman. Thank you very much, and thank you everyone for watching all my videos. I really do appreciate it. And if you have time, go over to my website, anthonymorganti.com, and see all the photography stuff I have over there. And if you have time, go to YouTube and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'd really appreciate that. That's it for now. Talk to you guys soon.